Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass, a series of digital-first conversations that we do here on the Leaders of Tomorrow. This is the 10th edition of the show. I'm Sunanda Jayasseelan. For those of you who are watching us, thank you so much for your time. Here are the highlights for Masterclass that I did talking about unicorns and decacorns and analyzing really the impact on India Inc. Looking forward into the next decade, what is going to define entrepreneurship? That's the question posed to our panelists. Let me introduce them. Prashant Gupta, co-founder of Ease My Trip. Aman Arora, director, co-founder and CM of Deacorns. Abhishek Agarwal, managing partner of Rockstud Capital. Gentlemen, thanks so much. Pleasure's all ours having the three of you here with us. Let me start with you, Aman. Decacorns is a brand that everyone, I'm sure, has experienced at some point or the other in their lives.
So hi, I'm Aman and I'm the co-founder of Decacorns. I started my entrepreneurship journey at a young age and never looked back. So the first one being Decacorns, which started in 2015 actually. And I've loved building this brand out from the ground. And the best part is that I can't imagine myself doing anything else. Being a co-founder of Decacorns means that I've been able to see the efforts turn into wonderful, tangible wins and growth personally and for the company. I think from 2015 to 2012 today, we have opened nearly 200 plus stores. We are present across 65 cities. We're also present in outside India, in Dubai, in the GCC, and Kenya.
The travel space is as exciting. Prashant, really talk to us about what your personal and professional journey has been.
Hi guys, this is Prashant Gupta. I'm the co-founder of Ease My Trip. Ease My Trip recently even became a unicorn. But the difference between us and probably the others have been that we are one of the bootstrap ones. In the last 14 years of our existence, we have never taken any VC money, PE money. In fact, the only money which we have utilized in the company for the first 4 years, which we put by ourselves, was about 15 lakh rupees, 15 lakh. So the company primarily grew on profits. We have never been a loss-making company, and we never threw money at the problem. We always worked hard to solve customers' queries, serve them well, and serve them at the best pricing which we can, and because of which we have become the second largest travel portal in India without raising any funds. In fact, last year our company even went public, so it's listed on NSE and BSE, and we got listed at the price of 90 rupees, and within a year right now our share is trading somewhere around 380 rupees. So we have received tremendous amount of love from the markets as well.
Perfect. And congratulations on turning unicorn. But Abhishek, let me give you the chance as well to really talk about perhaps some of the sectors that you look at. You are someone who's been associated with the entrepreneurial community for a very long time now.
Yeah, hi, Sunanda. So, of course, I mean, I've been investing, for the last 15 years, and especially I became a part of the startup ecosystem only by 2014. That's where, I made my first investment. And, over a period of last 8 years today, almost have made about 35 to 36 investments, combining both at my personal capacity, as well as the fund which I represent as Rockstud Capital Investment Fund, which I founded 3 years ago. And we primarily look at, pre-series A as a stage of funding. And that's where, our expertise lies.
Thanks so much for that, Abhishek. We've started on a very positive note, so let me try and put a pin in that. And really talk about one of the biggest flip sides. And we speak to a lot of experts and we ask them, how easy or difficult is it to set up and do business in the country? And also, what will it take for India to become a global startup hub on the likes of what's happening in Israel or in the US? I'm sure you've been asked this question many times, but Abhishek, when we were chatting offline, you spoke about why India is not necessarily a very easy place to do business. It doesn't matter about, the ease of doing business, listings and rankings. Why is that? And what in your mind is it going to take to really change that? For the entrepreneurs who are here in our audience today, what do you want to tell them?
The simple answer is that Indian consumers are highly demanding, and everything in this country, when you do a business, becomes a commodity. So to remain at a competitive advantage for a really long time doesn't happen here, because there is no protection. Here you have an economy which is open for all. For example, if you go to China, Google can't step in, Uber can't step in, and there are many such names which we all know that how the Chinese works. So similarly, if you look at US, although as Indians we can go to US, but it is similarly that they are very strong in their own land. And here in India, you have to compete to the world. So although you might be in a position by saying, listen, now it's a little easier to do the business, but to do the business in terms of the scale, it's not that easy. And therefore, that's where you put a lot of capital, to build your business and scale it. And that's where you always keep hearing about, recent fundraising continuously, because that's what is required, right, to be in the business. Otherwise, you would see the second guy standing next to you, and the consumer will walk away to them because they either would have built a better product or probably giving a better pricing, which eventually the consumer loves here in India.
India is very diverse country. If you travel 20 kilometers plus or minus or left or right, you will find different language. Now that breeds for a lot of innovation. Right now we have seen unicorns come in only for India. We have not really seen a lot of unicorns come for Bharat. I believe, for the matter of fact, there will be companies which are just serving people who are speaking Haryanvi. And from there itself, at least 5 to 10 unicorns will come.
There's so much to explore, especially the Bharat, right? And anyone who's in the angel space would tell you that there are a lot of these companies, startups that are coming from that region. And it's great for us. I think the journey has just started.
Here on the 10th edition of the Leaders of Tomorrow, we ask our experts to call out the big trends, the big events, the companies, the entrepreneurs, all of whom they feel are going to change and shape the course of entrepreneurship looking ahead. I posed this question to our experts. Here's what they had to say as far as what's going to change entrepreneurship in the next decade. Some of those trends include being D2C brands, digitization, as well as hiring of manpower, plus how you raise funds is going to change. Listen.
What we see, the trends emerging, we see a lot of digitization of the industry that's happening, the growth of the convenience economy. I think everyone wants a product or a service that is hassle-free and saves time. And because customers crave the convenience of get and go. And a lot of sustainable approaches. I think in the last 10 years, sustainability has been a buzzword across businesses and marketplaces, looking to stay relevant with the millennial and the Gen Z consumers.
I'm going to take a quick break. On that note, we are back in just a moment. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass. Okay, so that brings me to the point of digital. So let's look ahead then. If for an entrepreneur in the next couple of years, whether you're a unicorn, you're a sunicorn, you're a decacorn, what all are you going to require to be able to scale and to be able to grow? Abhishek, let me come to you and talk about what else is required for scale. And is scaling going to be necessary? And for a small business, what should they keep in mind before they scale?
Well, for technology companies, I guess the most important thing is team, right? So quality manpower retention is extremely important. Even if you look at the data, both from the listed equity, some of the large IT companies, they have a consistent problem of attrition. And that is something which is never good if you want to be in business. And that's a bigger problem even for startups, right? If you see in the recent news, a lot of perks typically, these, unicorns would have offered to their staff in terms of either giving them BMWs or large ESOP or bonuses or even housing. Yeah. But, what is sustainable or not, I don't want to comment there. But what is very important is that you definitely require a set of people who stick around with you for a longer tenure and then help you to build whatever you are building around. It is something like that. I would consider the people are extremely important to consider in terms of having to scale in your business.
Since this is a master class, I owe it to the audience to share some things which we do, which might be a little bit different than how industry works or how our competitor works. Without retention of quality employees, it's just going to be extremely hard for you to build anything. You need solid 30-40 people you can count on who could even, who relate to you with the same thought process, with the same energy, and, are in the same mission as you are. So I'll share something which EaseMyTrip does very differently. At EaseMyTrip, we have about 530 odd staff. And, we have 6 other competitors. Except for EaseMyTrip, all our competitors have outsourced their call center. Now, why our competitors have outsourced, and I'll tell you why it is important or why I'm relating all this to. See, if there are 100 passengers flying, only 10 need to cancel or reschedule, and for that, they need to call. 90 don't need to call you, they just fly, or they just go to their hotel and stay. So my competitor believes that the 90 is the core and 10 is not core, and hence outsource it. But I believe this is where consumers are actually really testing you. This is when they are actually judging, making their opinions about you, and over a period of a decade, this makes a lot of customers. And this is where the positive or negative word of mouth spreads. So we have never outsourced our call center. Of the 520-30 staff, 270 are in my call center. And, we have been extremely careful of delivering results to the consumers. Now, if you come to EaseMyTrip office, you will find something very peculiar. Almost 50 to 60% of my managerial staff, be it quality analysts, be it product managers, be it AVPs, VPs of operations, they come from my call center. They are graduated from my call center. So these people, they start their journey by being a call center employee, and the one who are doing extremely well, the ones who are outshining, we graduate them. We give them the training for 6 to 7 months. We train them for particular job profiles, and then we graduate them. So rather than hiring from IITs and IIMs, we actually graduate people from call center to the other departments.
Let me very quickly take our first poll question for our audience. This is popping up on your screens as I speak. My first question is, will the impressive compensation at India's unicorn startups, Decacorns, Unicorns, tempt you to join a startup in India versus perhaps join, a more legacy business, if I can call it that? It's a yes or no question. Appreciate you taking the time to respond. We've got our first audience question, and this one is coming to us from Krishna Vardhan. He says he's CEO of IDOs. I hope I've got the pronunciation of that right, Krishna. Krishna says, Prashant, agree on building internal talent. However, do you agree that we need new people who can bring in fresh perspective? Else we fall into the trap that we're doing the right thing, but you're continuing to do the same thing, perhaps.
Oh, absolutely. And what better way to get the new talent than graduating people from one role to the other role? Absolutely. I actually think that that's the best way to innovate. And as we graduate people from call center department to quality analysts to operations to product manager, these all people bring in newer perspectives because they do not come with a particular pedigree or do not come with that particular thought process. So, Krishna, whatever we are doing is actually in lines with what you're suggesting.
Sure. Let me read out this next question. Siddhant, he says he's CEO and director of Maintenance House. That's the name of his company. He says, I founded Maintenance House around 6 years ago and have not raised any money so far. We have scaled organically to 6+ states in India and work with the best of the MNCs and organizations building new solutions for new problems. He says, I've been sitting on the fence with regards raising money, and I want to seek this panel's feedback on what is the right time or the right scenario to raise money. Or is it important to do so, and how do you decide it is important? Also, Siddhant, thank you very much for your kind words. He says it's a very interesting and relatable conversation, and that the business sentiment is alive and good. So he's quite happy. Thank you for that, Siddhant.
The most important thing is that, you should have a right passion and right understanding about entrepreneurship when you're getting into. It is not a fast moving train which will just take you to your goals. If you are passionate towards a particular problem solving approach, and for that you want to get it, that's the best way rather than thinking getting faster rich. The term unicorn itself is non-existent. So one has to understand that there's no point of chasing something which is non-existent. What you should focus is on your business. And if that business requires capital, then you raise it. If it doesn't require capital, then don't raise it. but don't do a business because you want to raise it.
I think one of the things that happened with us also, and a mentor told me, the golden rule of fundraising is to delay it as much as possible. And I think it really worked for us. I think the whole idea, so initially also we were bootstrapped, and we just, the only way we were able to raise our funds was through franchising, because it's the fastest way to expand without diluting your equity. But however, after franchising, we had enough internal accruals to build our business, and till date we haven't raised any amount of money, and we are profitable. So yeah, that's something I wanted to say, and that's worked really well for us.
The response to my first poll question has come in. 78% of you saying yes, 22% of you are saying no. Let me come to you first, Aman. From the journey that you've had, and from the journey that your company has had, what is perhaps the biggest learning that you've had, and what do you want to leave our audience with today?
Number one is that you have to have conviction in yourself and in your idea. But more importantly, you need luck on your side. I strongly believe in that. Sometimes you just got to be at the right place at the right time and meet the right people. So even the best ideas never see the light of day without a little bit of luck. However, that doesn't mean you only just rely on luck. I think you have to expose yourself. You have to be always look for opportunities whenever you can. I think that's really worked for me.
Prashant, my next question is to you. As a unicorn, what has that meant for you? Getting that status or getting that stamp, what has it meant for you? And was it something that you always were working towards? Or, is it something that has happened and is good for business?
Honestly speaking, had we looked for this particular tag, we would have raised money in 14 years before getting listed. We never raised money and we could have been valued being a unicorn earlier had we raised money. Since we never raised money, there was no valuation to the company prior to being listed. So no, I do not think that these things really excite you. We are glad that our hard work is getting appreciated for the last 14 years. Imagine the kind of insecurity we must have lived in when our competitors are raising $200 million, $300 million, $50 million, and that whether a consumer buys air ticket from me or my competitor, the cushion of the air ticket is not going to change. It's a pretty commoditized business. And in a commodity business, the only thing which matters to the consumer, the most of the important thing which matters to the consumer is price. And knowing that your competitor has raised $200 million and for the next 1 month, he is going to be on extravaganza, giving flight 1,500 rupees off on every flight. You live through those cycles of insecurity. So, it's just, we're just happy that people have understood that there is some value which we have created by even after being bootstrapped. But otherwise, I do not think so there is any value in being unicorn. However, one thing which I'd like to say is that being listed is a tremendous amount of value. I'm seeing that as a part of my business. As a unicorn, I don't think so people are using me because I'm a unicorn. But a lot of people are using me because I'm listed.
Abhishek, from all the companies and the businesses that you look at, earlier, of course, looking at as an angel investor, now as a VC, what is the one secret, if I can call it that you want to tell our entrepreneurs if they're perhaps looking at raising funds that you want to advise them on?
Yeah, I will tell you there are a couple of differences when I see the winners versus the losers. The winner promoter have at least one approach, which is being compliant, following a process, right? No matter what, there are certain things which you keep following. You can pivot in your business, but that doesn't mean that you start pivoting from your compliance or from the reporting standards or the transparency standards you need to maintain of course, with your own team and employees, and of course, be your external investors if you have one. And that is very critically crucial, because then you open yourself for a feedback which is going to be constructive in nature and probably can hold you for those mistakes which you probably can commit in terms of the immaturity. See, when you get a lot of capital, the possibility of burning that capital into wrong businesses, the wrong side of expenses can happen. And if there is no hand-holding, then it can't happen. So if you don't share those things, it's impossible to then, work on those. So it's very important to maintain that trust and transparency and follow a process with your, ecosystem. And that would definitely help them when they are, growing in their own journey.
All right. Gentlemen, it's been absolutely fascinating having the three of you here with us. Thank you for taking the time to speak to our entrepreneurs. Out of time on tonight's masterclass. If you have any feedback for us, contact details on the screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.